Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm making sure my mic is working. How is everybody today? Happy Tuesday. It is April 12th, getting close to tax day. Welcome everybody back to my channel and to my live stream, my weekly live stream. My name is Angela, for those of you that don't know. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my YouTube channel is dedicated to all of you who are just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I answer your questions and I share with you some techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business. So first things first, I had a question asked last night, and I see that this individual is here. And I wanted to go over something that was a question. And the question was that they needed help with discerning, or determining rather, where their noise floor was for ACX, for audiobooks, and how to determine their RMS. And your RMS, basically, just to touch on that, is an average volume of your file, your dialogue volume, really. So what I'm going to do is I have a file of an audiobook I had just finished. Let me see if I can share my screen. Bear with me a moment here. Let's see if I need to move. Do I need to move my face? No, I think that is fine. Okay, so I am going to transition over to this screen. Sorry for the unslick scene change. I'm still learning how to use everything. But this is an ACX file, okay? So what you want to do, and I know this individual is using Adobe Audition. So if you are using Adobe Audition, I highly recommend using the spectral view. Because when you open Adobe Audition, it looks like this, right? It looks like you just see the waveform. So what you want to do is go up to the top here. You've got your waveform here. I'm sorry, the spectral, that's a wave. The spectral, click this button. So that brings up this other view down here below. And down here is a visual representations of the frequencies that make up your waveform. So what you want to see, if I had a noise floor down here, and this file has already been processed, but I'm just answering your question. Down here at the very bottom is your noise floor. So if you want to determine what level or volume your noise floor is, first you want to click this little loop playback button down here to make sure that whatever you select is just going to loop just that section. It won't move on to the rest of the track. You just want to hear just the noise floor. So you want to select a section of your track that is just silence or room tone, right? You don't want any dialogue in this. And then select it and then play it. And then down here at the bottom is your volume bar. So mine isn't moving because it's pretty quiet. It's been processed. But if you had a noise floor, that's what that would be. So let me see if I can find a different section that maybe is not so quiet. Although it is pretty quiet since it's an audiobook, but let's try this one here. So I'm going to play this, and the volume bar is still not moving. So let me see if I can find something. Okay, so just to give you an idea of the difference, this is dialogue, right? You can see the volume bar moving down here. So to test your noise floor, just select the section of just room tone and play it. And then watch your volume bar. And if it does not eclipse the -60, you're fine. You're fine for noise floor. Now, your RMS, especially if you have Adobe Audition, this would be easy for you to apply this, is the average volume of your file, right? So this file has already been processed with my EQ, my NS1 to reduce the noise floor to make it within the range for ACX. So now I'm going to normalize it to -3 dB, and I have my normalize saved on a hotkey. So I'm just going to normalize it really quick. And then you're going to come over here to amplitude statistics, right? And then hit scan selection. Let it do its thing. And what you want to look at is your peak amplitude, which is negative 3 dB. That is your max volume, right? There's your negative 3 dB. So this file is within that range. And then you want to look at your total RMS amplitude. That is what you want to look at for ACX to be within the range of negative 18 and negative 23. This file is at negative 21.91, which is within range for ACX. So that is the two ways with Adobe Audition to figure out your noise floor and your RMS. I hope that answers your question. Let me switch back here so I can, let's see, F6. Oh, hey, I did it. Yay. Okay, fabulous. All right, let me come back over to YouTube and see if you guys have any questions about what I just did here. Let me know if that answered your question. Let's see. There is, I think I had a statement up here. So I think it was, there's somebody saying hi up underneath my poll here. I think it was Robert. I think it was Robert Palmore. Thank you for joining today. Kirk is here. Hi, Kirk. Rebecca is also here. Hi, Rebecca. Hello, hello. Oh, real quick, guys, the poll. We have a poll every week here in the live Q&A. And this week's poll is, which would you prefer for your voiceover business? Would you prefer to be a freelancer only and only work on freelance sites, or maybe find your own clients, you know, all on your own, reach out and do marketing and things of that nature, freelance on your own? Or would you rather get work from agents only? Or would you rather do both, freelance and have agents? So it looks like we have 17 votes so far. 18% of you said freelance only. 6% of you said work with agents only. And then 76% of you said freelance and agent work. That's kind of how I thought it would go. I am currently looking for, I'm in the beginning stages of trying to find some publishers, marketing really, and maybe to look into finding an agent for myself. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Having a little extra, you know, auditions sent to my inbox is not necessarily a bad thing. So I think I would do both too, freelance and maybe have an agent or two. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Let me hop back over to the questions and comments and say hello to everybody. Sarah Wright is also here. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. They say, hi, Angela. Thanks for accepting me into your Facebook group. You suggested last week that I join. You're very welcome. Enjoy. I'm glad to have you. JCCAOL is here. Good morning. Finished my first short story, which after editing will submit to the group for critique. I look forward to hearing all the comments. Well, good. I can't wait to hear it. Michael Verney is here. Good morning. I may look at Audition if there is a free trial. There is. There is a free trial for Audition. There's a free 14-day trial. I believe most of the DAWs, digital audio workstations, do. I believe they do. There is, of course, if you don't want to pay any kind of fee to use a DAW, if you're just kind of dipping your toes into voiceover audiobook narration to see if you like it, there's always Audacity, which is free to download and free to use. But there are lots of different DAWs, and I think most of those have free trials. I know Adobe Audition for sure does. That's a 14-day free trial. So check it out and see if you like it. I instantly fell in love with it. I personally used Audacity for about 2 months, maybe 2 or 3 months in the beginning. And then I was turned on to Adobe Audition. And to me, it felt like with using Audacity, it felt like I was trying to work, looking at my work through a straw is the best way that I can explain it or articulate it. And then I found Adobe Audition, and then it's just like this whole world just opened up, and all of the things that I could do and see and process, you know, all of the effects that I had. So I really enjoy Adobe Audition, and I always recommend it to anyone getting started. But again, if you're just, dipping a toe in to see if you like it, try Audacity. Record some stuff and see if you even like doing voiceover and audiobook narration. And then move on to the DAW of your choice. Excuse me. I am fighting some, fighting some allergies today. So, good God. Okay. God, excuse me. Sorry, guys. Okay. Back to the comments if I can get my voice under control. Ron Rio. Good morning, Ron. Good to see you. Robert Palmore, that was you up there. Yeah, you're actually underneath my poll now. So now I can't see your comment at all, but thank you. Good God, coffee time. Oh my gosh. So sorry, guys. Andy B says, thanks, Angela. I will see if I can try it with your info. It is true that if it does not adhere to ACX's standards, that it will be rejected. How helpful is that? We both have AA or Adobe Audition 2022. If your files do not meet all of the requirements for ACX's standards, ACX will email you or notify you and tell you that something is off. And they'll tell you exactly what it is that is off. And I know it's daunting and it's intimidating, but hey, if I can do it, I have no doubt that most of you, probably could, if not all of you. It's just, it's especially if you're not really familiar with your DAW and all of the technical aspects of it. But it does come with time. It does come with just using it and exploring it and understanding all of the different things that it can do for you. And I've said it a million times, but YouTube is an absolute goldmine of information, especially for Adobe Audition. I personally have a few videos here on my channel that walk you through some different things, aspects of Adobe Audition, specifically for audiobook narration. But also here on YouTube is Mike Russell. Mike Russell's channel is very, very good for going through different aspects of Adobe Audition for voiceover, for dialogue editing, that sort of thing. So I recommend that one as well. But it does come with time. So just get to know your DAW, get to know Adobe Audition, and you will feel a lot more confident by just using it going forward. So, but they will tell you, ACX will tell you exactly what is wrong, and how to fix it is easily found on YouTube or your Facebook group, right? Reach out and ask some people. I can probably walk you through how to fix it. Kimberly Bryant is here. Hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Joy West is here. Good morning. Good morning from Michigan. Did you guys get a storm? I thought there was some snow over that way. Maybe but then again, I don't get out of my room very often, so. But I thought I heard there was a big storm coming through up that way. Michael Verney is here. Good morning. I'm currently using Reaper, and I really like it. I've heard some really good things about Reaper, too. I've never tried it myself, but I know that Booth Junkie, Mike Delgadio, he really likes it. There are a few other voice actors that I know that use Reaper, but I've heard some good things about it as well. But I've heard great things about Audition. It's the subscription part, easy for you to say, I hesitate about. Yeah, I know. I understand that Reaper, there's like a light version that once you get the hang of it, then you go to the pro version. But the fee that you pay is lifetime. You own it. Lifetime, right? There's no other fees that you have to pay. And Adobe Audition, there is a monthly subscription for it. And I have the entire Adobe suite. I have, Premiere Pro and After Effects and the pro version of the Acrobat, which, for PDFs, which I use, when clients send me NDAs to sign and tax, things of that nature that, I like to have all of those apps. So I like Audition for that reason too. And not only that, but when you're doing a lot of video work, as I am, it's easy to have all of the apps that, that work across each other seamlessly. So if I'm doing video work, I can easily move my audio into Adobe Audition, fix something if I have to, and then move it right back without missing a beat. I like that ease of use also because I use all of those different apps. So it makes sense for me, but not necessarily everybody, right? Excuse me. Andy B says, never used Audacity or the others. I used Amadeus for Mac when I used that platform. I started with Adobe 1.5 and then had 3.0, but the online version is easier to follow. I've always had the Creative Cloud version, so I'm unfamiliar with the others, but I've always been very happy with Adobe Audition. Rob Jefferson says, good morning. He says, do you get paid before or after you do a session? Paid before or after you do a session? I'm not sure what you mean. For an audiobook narration or for live directed voiceover work? If you could elaborate on your question. Or do you mean like if you book a session to meet with me one-on-one? I'm not sure what you mean, Rob. Good gracious. So sorry, guys. At Home with Tom and Rhonda Howard says, good morning. Good morning. JCCAOL says, one question. How long did it take you to get into the habit of recording on a steady basis? When I wake up, I first write, then record for an hour, work out, then teach class. Morning is best. Habit of recording on a steady basis. I think whatever process works best for you. I've heard some people say that they record best not first thing in the morning. Like you're saying, you get up and you kind of wake up a little bit and you write down some things or do a workout, do some yoga, have some coffee in my case. And then once, mid-morning, I think is also good for me too. I prefer to record mid-morning or early afternoon. But I try to do what I can when I can, really, between, taking the kiddo to school, picking him up. I also have sessions with mentees every day. And then I have, especially with summer coming, if the air conditioner is on, I record when I can. And then I edit when I can't record, right? So I'm always doing something, but I spend a good 10, 12 hours every day here in the studio, off and on. I take a lot of breaks. You have to, to keep your mind right? And to give your voice a break, which I may need a few more of those today. But I find that usually mid-morning and early afternoon, I record quite a bit. But I spend the majority of my day editing, I think. Because I also, as some of you may know, I also edit podcasts. I have about 30 channels that I edit for. So I'm not only editing my own voiceover work, but I'm editing other people's dialogue as well. So I do a lot of editing most of the day. So I give myself a break, with my voice quite a bit. Andy B says, do agents take 20% like the free sites do? I'm not 100% sure what they take and what percentage they take. I don't have an agent, not yet. But once I do, I could probably share that information with you as long as I'm allowed to. I don't see why I wouldn't be, but I don't know what I don't know, right? I would imagine it's somewhere around that fee. Everyone has to have their piece for their work, right? Then Andy says, how long did it take you to get comfortable with the interface and software? I always thought I was computer literate, but not lately. It took me a while. It took me about, I still am doing tweaking, here and there. I discover new things, new shortcuts, new processes that save me time, and anything that saves time is going to be just priceless, right? So it took me probably a good year and a half maybe, to really get comfortable with how things interconnected and work together, right? Not only with the interface and the DAW, but everything else in the computer has to be, all the settings have to be matched up perfectly and things of that nature. So a lot of those things I didn't know until I ran into a problem, and then I had to figure out a solution to the problem. So most everything that I have learned has been by happenstance or by necessity because it was a problem that I needed to solve. But if a client had even asked me for something in particular and I didn't know what they meant, then I would go to YouTube or reach out to my Facebook group members and ask them. But there really isn't anything that you can't discover by just, asking questions or searching for information online. It's all there. You just have to go and find it, right? But again, you don't know what you don't know until you have to know it. And then you learn. So, don't be too hard on yourself if that's what you're doing with not knowing what you don't know, because that's not your fault. You just learn as you go. It's a completely natural process. But it will make sense over time, I promise you. Yeah, it did for me anyway, because you see it long enough. You see it all day long, and then it starts to make sense. Okay, I'll stop my tangent. Jody Leon, hello. Good morning from Seattle. Good morning from Seattle. Good morning from Arizona. Joy West says, no, thank goodness. I am so done with snow. Okay, well, I have to remember where I heard that then. I think that was further north. I think that was Canada that I'm thinking of, now that you mention it. But yeah, I don't get any snow here in Phoenix, so I'm happy about that. Although, summers are brutal. But I'm glad. I'm glad that no more snow for you this year. Robert Palmore, what's wrong with me today? Says Reaper has free updates as well. Oh, yes, that was actually a question that had popped into my head and I forgot to ask. You're a mind reader. So if you buy Reaper and you have it outright for life, and then they send you free updates, that's a pretty good deal. Because that's one thing with Adobe Audition, of course. If you have the subscription, then you get updates every so often that are updated automatically through Creative Cloud. So that's good that they send updates as well for free. They don't charge you for that. All right, let's pop on over to the poll really quick. Okay, so we got 25 votes. Which would you prefer for your voiceover business? Freelance work only. 16% of you said freelance work only. And 4% of you said work from agents only. And then 80% of you said freelance and agent work. And that's pretty much how I thought it would go. Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with having more opportunities for work, right? But I get some people just don't want to work with agents, and that's okay too. I mean, ultimately, it's your business. You run it the way that you want to run it, right? Okay, where am I? JCCAOL says, shout out to our friend in Michigan. Here in Wisconsin, the weather has been great, but storms are approaching. Yeah, we get monsoons here in a couple more months in Arizona. But no snow. No snow, just lots of lightning and loudness and dust storms. But that's about it. It's Miss versus World. That's a cool username. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Klaus Kusero. Gosh, what's wrong with me today? I love Logic Pro, but the spectral repair in Audition is quite cool. It is. I hands down love that feature because it's super gross, but you can totally see your mouth noise in that spectral view. So you can go in with your healing brush if there's, if you have a plugin that helps to reduce mouse clicks, mouth clicks, then that takes care of most of it. And then as you're editing, you can go back through and look in that spectral display and see your breaths, and you can see like the big mouth click marks and just, healing brush those out. So I really love the spectral repair or the spectral display in Adobe Audition. It's really, really helpful. Joy West says, she's answering JCCAOL. Hi there. We are supposed to get some rain and possible thunderstorms. My poor dog was shaking like a leaf at the last bunch of storms. What are those called? Are they called thunder blankets? There's like these like little jackets that you can put on your dog that's supposed to it makes them feel like they are safe. The word is escaping me, but I'm hearing that those are very helpful for our fur babies when storms are approaching. Makes them feel more comfortable or a little more at ease. I don't know if you guys have heard of those or have used those, if they work for you. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. JCC AOL says, Joy West, give your pup a big hug for all of us. Yes, please do that. Please do that. Andy B says, is the editing of podcasts another gig that you publicize? I could do that in addition to write copy. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you have another skill, even if it's not voiceover or audiobook related, offer it. Offer it to the public. There's nothing wrong with diversifying your income, right? Not to mention, if you have another skill that'll keep you busy between voiceover projects, that's not a bad thing either. So yes, that is something that I offer, excuse me, through Upwork, through my website, through Fiverr, just about anywhere that I can offer it. I do offer podcast editing. And if you write copy, that's great too. That's another skill that you can offer to the world. Nothing wrong with that. You know, you learned a skill, so monetize it. Joy, oh, no, I skipped somebody here. Sorry about that. JFree906. Good morning. Says, hello. Question, is it okay to use an audition done as a sample on your own site or ACX? Yes, I don't think that would be an issue. However, if I always try to at least get an okay from everybody that I work with, although it does apply for ACX in most cases. I think it even outlines that in the terms of service that you can use auditions as samples. I know some people are a little bit hesitant to do that, but I think ACX, don't quote me, but I think ACX that it's okay to do that. I know some other pay to plays, I believe voices.com also will allow you to do that. If you submit an audition, you can use it as a sample. But I always try to get the permission of the client prior to using any of my work done as a sample. Just, because that's just me. I just want to always cover myself, Oh my gosh, I lost my place. Oh, yeah, you did specify your own site or ACX. Yeah. Not so much auditions, excuse me, but I have used finished work with the permission of the client on my website or ACX. But ACX, I think you can use auditions for samples too, for sure. Joey West says, I have a laptop and a walk-in closet. I want to record a sample reel, so what else can I get on a budget no greater than $150? You definitely want to have a good microphone. You don't want to use your phone. You don't want to use like a lavalier mic. You want to have, to start, you want to get yourself a nice USB mic. I started out with a Blue Yeti, and I know a lot of other people do. USB mics have come a long way in the last couple of years. They sound really, really good. I think even the Audio Technica, the AT2020 USB mic is a pretty good one, and I think it's about that price range. But I would say to take that budget that you have and get yourself a nice USB microphone, and to start, earbuds to listen back to what you're doing closely. Don't use your laptop speakers. Use headphones, especially if you're doing audiobooks, because you want to be able to hear anything that shouldn't be there, right? So, but then as you start to make money, upgrade your equipment. Get yourself a nice pair of headphones and maybe upgrade your mic. But, and also treating your space is very important. If you have a walk-in closet, that's great. You have a dedicated place that you can record in, but you definitely don't want to neglect your space, because you could have the most expensive microphone in the world, and it's just going to make your bad sounding room sound even much more badly. It's just going to highlight the bad sound of your bad room. So you don't want to neglect your space. So any hard surfaces that you have in your recording space, you want to cover with blankets, acoustic tiles, like those little foam acoustic tiles that you see everybody using in their studios, towels, something to reduce the hard surfaces in there, because when you're speaking, your voice comes out of your mouth and it bounces around the room that you're in, and then your microphone picks that up. So if you're in a small space like I am here in my little storage closet, my voice is going to bounce around the ceiling, that wall, that wall, that wall, and then my microphone's going to pick that up. So it's going to have a lot of echo with it also. It's going to pick up all of those, the voice bouncing around the room. So don't neglect your space. Definitely treat your space, get rid of all the hard surfaces, and also don't forget your desktop, because that is also a flat surface, and that will also reflect your voice as well. So treat your surface and get a good mic, a good USB mic. Andy B says, how many learned people did you look to and refer to the elders when you first started out? I'm assuming you mean voiceover artists or audiobook narrators. I was in a couple of Facebook groups and did a lot of research on YouTube, I think on my own for about a good year and a half. And then I started to plateau, and that's when I reached out to my coach. But which is worth it, definitely worth it. Get yourself training and coaching. There's nothing wrong with that. It's definite benefit for you. But I'd say probably 2 or 3 main people. I think I followed quite a bit in the very beginning. But I listened to a lot of podcasts. I was just a sponge. I soaked it up wherever and whenever I could, really. LBDITBBB says, good morning from Minnesota. Apologize if this is a repeat question, but I'm wondering if there's a good tutorial for Adobe Audition that you'd recommend. Very early in the game, feeling so intimidated. It is a lot. There is a lot to learn in the beginning. A great place to look for information on Adobe Audition is Mike Russell here on YouTube. He has a great channel, and he covers a lot of information about Adobe Audition. I have a few videos about Adobe Audition here on my channel, specifically for audiobooks and ACX, that sort of thing. But he's got a ton. So, and I think he's a little better at it than I am. Just saying. But who else? I can't think of anybody else at the moment, but Mike Russell for sure. Here on YouTube. Robert Palmore says, yes, I am psychotic. I mean, psychic. Aren't we all just a little bit? I think you have to be. Hey, Chris is here. Good morning. Morning, coach from Central Canada. Big snowstorm rolling in tonight. That's right. That's right. You did tell me that. I think that's where I heard the storm thing. Sorry about that. Hey, well, at least it'll be quiet for the most part. I mean, afterward, so you can get some recording done. Keith Gardner is here. Good morning. 2 full versions of Reaper updates for $60, $5 to $6.99, for example. So you pay for the full version of Reaper for $60? No, it's more than that, right? Or do you have to pay for the updates? I thought the updates were free. Or do you get only 2 for $60? I'll figure it out. Robert Palmore says, real problem if you have mouse clicks. Yeah. My mouth isn't working this morning. Yes, mouse clicks. Yeah. Andy B says, my wife and I visited Phoenix back in 1990, and we're captivated by Sedona and the red. Oh God, yeah. Sedona is beautiful. Love Sedona. Michael Verney is here. He says, I just signed up to join your Facebook group. Oh, cool. Cool. I'll have to, I don't get in there every single day and approve members, but I'll definitely look for your name. Andy B says, thunder shirt for dogs. That's what I was thinking of. It's a thunder shirt. That's right. It hugs them, but my dog, ate his. We have him on trazodone from the vet. I need to put my glasses on. I can't see anything. Yeah, I always hate to medicate the animals, but I guess if you have to keep them safe. Sean Lester 007 is here. Hello. I got into audiobook recording because my wife bought me a toner microphone for $40. I used my clothes closet to record auditions and quickly was offered several contracts. Well, good for you. Apparently, your place or your recording space sounds really, really good. See, it really doesn't come down to how much you spend on equipment. The most important things, or how you sound, even really for that matter, what your voice sounds like, it really comes down to your space and how well you deliver the copy, how well you deliver the story, your intent, your emotions, your, inflections, all of those things matter more than what your actual voice sounds like and how expensive your microphone is. So that's proof. Good job, Sean. That's awesome. I hope you took some of those contracts. Joy West says, my walk-in closet has clothes, boxes, and is carpeted. Only the ceiling is bare. Yeah, I would treat the ceiling because just by experience in this room, treating every wall and then still having reverb, even though it's, it's like an 8-foot ceiling, but it's still, the room is so small, it'll definitely pick it up if you don't treat the ceiling. I would. Actually, let's take a break for a second. Let's hop on over to the poll. So we got 33 votes so far. And the poll question again was, which would you prefer for your voiceover business? Freelance work only, 27% of you. 3% work from agents only. And 70% freelance and agent work. Interesting. Looks like we've got more freelance only minded people in here now than we did earlier today. Interesting. Yeah, I fought for a long, long time. I've been doing this for just about 4 years now. I've been full time for about 2 years, and I still don't have an agent. I haven't had the need to have one. And maybe I just like working by myself. Maybe I'm making working with an agent more than what it is. Because, for those of you that are new to my channel, I'm a little bit of an introvert. I know I'm talking to you all right now, but really I'm talking to a camera. I know there's people on the other side of it, but I'm still here by myself, right? So I don't know. Maybe I just watch too many movies. But I don't think there's anything bad that can come out of working with an agent apart from having, well, that's not really a bad thing. Sharing some of your income with your agent, but then every freelance site is the same way. Everybody gets their cut. Everybody gets their piece, right? So it would be the same with an agent, I think. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Allergies are killing me. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Sean Lester 007 says, of course, I quickly upgraded to the Rode mic for $100. Yeah, the Rode makes some good mics. It's Miss versus World. Gosh, sorry, guys. What do you know about medical voiceover? And it's Miss V's World. I apologize. Medical voiceover it works about the same. It's almost as the same as like e-learning. It kind of falls under the e-learning umbrella. Unless you're doing commercial work, when you're talking about, pharmaceutical type of commercials, where you're reading commercials about different types of drugs, prescription drugs, that sort of thing. But most of the medical narrations that I have done have been more of like an e-learning type of a thing where you're discussing medical practices, procedures, equipment, that sort of thing. If you have a background, a medical healthcare background, then it would definitely be beneficial for you going forward into medical narrations for voiceover, because you will have a better understanding of these policies, procedures, techniques, equipment, and probably have a better grasp on pronouncing some of these names, some of these medical terms that a lot of us have to figure out, right? So if you have a background in medical or healthcare, then I would definitely look into that. But, medical narration could be Uh, it could be either commercial or e-learning for the most part. I hope that answers your question, and I will pronounce your name right going forward. LBDI says, thank you so much. I love listening to you. So appreciate the suggestion for Mike Russell. Well, you're welcome. And thank you for coming by. Today, I'm very raspy and very phlegmy, apparently. So I apologize for that, but I'm trying. I'm trying. Thank you for being here. Robert Palmore says, did you say your mouse isn't working, lazy mouse? I know. Get to work, mouse. My mouth isn't working today. Nothing is working. I'm like in a allergy Claritin fog. God. It will go away. Okay, it's Miss V's World says, when I was little, my grandparents' dog would run under my grandfather whenever we had a thunderstorm. Apparently, they felt very, very safe under my grandfather. Yeah, thunderstorms were scary when I was a kid, too, because it's, and I imagine it's the same for animals. They don't know what's happening. All they know is there's a lot of light and noise, and they can feel it, too. I'm sure they can feel the change in the pressure and the humidity and just feel the rumbling. I'm sure it's terrifying for them not being able to articulate what it is and that everything is, in fact, okay. It's terrifying. Keith Gardner says, Reaper costs $60, which includes 2 full versions of free updates from version 5.0 to 6.99, for example. Reaper also has spectral editing, which I started using hang on, someone just posted it. There we go. Which I started using after I heard you talk about it. Thanks. So Reaper also has spectral editing. I didn't know that. That's cool. I think that's a great feature for any DAW, really, because you can see everything that shouldn't be there. You can see your noise floor. You can see your mouth clicks. You can see your breaths. You can see maybe, the dog barking next door, or kids running up and down the stairs. You can see all of that in the spectral display. So it's really, really cool. Really helpful. Ada Audigba. I hope that's correct. Hey, Angela, I'm curious. How big of a difference did top-rated seller really make for you when you got it on Fiverr? Curious. It was really cool because I know for Fiverr, you run through the levels, right? You have all of these parameters that you have to meet, all these stipulations you have to meet to move up in levels. But for top rated, you have to be selected. You have to be invited. It's not an automatic thing. So when I earned top rated on Fiverr, I was very flattered. I was very honored. I was very excited about having that badge, because I think a lot of the bigger companies want to work with someone who is, for lack of a better term, vetted and experienced, and have that social proof that the people before you came and enjoyed the product that you delivered and had a great customer experience and all of those things. So having that top rated seller badge, I think, did very, very good things for me in making myself visible to bigger and better opportunities. I still work with a lot of clients that I did when I was level 1, level 2, but having that top rated seller badge, I think, definitely moved me up into the higher levels of clients, being seen by more clients. So I think it was definitely a benefit to me and my business to be top rated on Fiverr, for sure. Not only that, but then you have to wait less time for your funds to clear. And what other benefit? I know I'm forgetting something. I'm sure it'll come back to me when I'm not thinking about it anymore. But to answer your question, yes, I think it was a huge benefit for me and my business on Fiverr to be top rated, for sure. Joy West says, could I make a tent using a blanket to cut the reverb between me and the ceiling until I get something better to treat the ceiling? You can use a blanket and just tack it to the ceiling. I don't think you really have to create a tent, but I would just, tack a towel or an old blanket. Go to your local thrift store and get yourself an old blanket and just tack it to your ceiling. just to cut down those hard surfaces. But having the clothes and all of that stuff around you is definitely going to help kind of deaden your space to reduce the reverb in there for sure. But that's what I would do. You know, if you probably have a light and maybe even a sprinkler system up there, just cut holes around them. That's why I say go to the thrift store and go get like a blanket for a couple of bucks, or an old towel that you're not using anymore, something like that. But you could definitely make yourself a tent if you really have to, although you might want to consider getting a light to be nearby you, unless you just plan on working by the light of your laptop. I guess you could do that too. But I would just treat the ceiling. But do what works best for you and your space. Melissa's here. Good morning, Melissa. Did you start out narrating audiobooks only? If so, goodness, how long did you do that before adding other VO work to what you do? I did start out only narrating audiobooks because that is what I found first. I found the ability to narrate audiobooks open to just about anybody who had the ability and the opportunity, I guess, the space to do it. So I gave that a try first. And then once I got onto Fiverr and Upwork, I discovered there was a lot more that you could do under that same voiceover umbrella, namely telephony, IVR, like phone trees of voice messages, that sort of thing. E-learning narration, documentary narration. There's commercial work, of course. There's video games. There's all kinds of different ways that I can, with all of the equipment and all of the same stuff that I already have for audiobooks, that I could put to use for other types of voiceover work. So I started with audiobooks, and I slowly started to kind of branch out into all of the other ways that I could use my equipment and my instrument to make money, to better my business, really. So yes, I did. It's Miss versus World, or Miss V's World. I already forgot. I have heard that there are supposed to be opportunities in VO with adult materials. Is that correct? That is absolutely 110% correct. A lot of people will probably reach out to you on Upwork and Fiverr, and maybe even ACX, to do this type of work. There's no shame in doing this work, and with audiobooks, namely, you can use a pseudonym if you so choose, if you want to do adult material in audiobooks. They sell really well, just FYI, and you can use a pseudonym. So there's a lot of this type of work out there. Just about anything that you can think of with a voice, with a human voice, there's voiceover work for that can be found. Absolutely. Kirk says, good for any time, but especially during heavy allergy season. My Pure Mist personal vaporizer is a great thing to have. And honey, and whiskey with honey. I actually have a vaporizer on all night. I took some, I don't know if it was exactly Claritin, but I took an allergy pill this morning just to kind of dry things up so I can get some work done. And I do take a lot of honey. Tea with honey. I don't know about whiskey and honey, but tea and honey, and then just like spoonfuls of honey, because it really just coats the throat. So I think I'm going to try that for sure. I saw something on TikTok last night that was a great idea. It was I think she's an audiobook narrator, but what she shared was something I'm definitely going to try for a sore throat, or for lots of narration in a short period of time to ease your throat. She took a Ricola, a cough drop, put it in a teacup, and then filled the teacup with the throat coat tea. And if you don't know the throat coat tea, if you go to Amazon and search throat coat tea, there's a great herbal tea out there that's good for soothing your throat. It's got that slippery elm bark in it, I believe, and that licorice. There's elements in there, there's herbs in there that help to soothe the throat. But anyway, she put the Ricola in the cup, and then she filled it with the throat coat tea. And then once that melted, she would sip on that. And then help to coat her throat or soothe her throat enough to get through, I think she said a 12-hour audiobook in 4 days or something insane. So that's pretty insane if you think about it. But that's what she said she did. So I'm actually going to try that. But I need to go get some throat lozenges to do that with. Joy West says, I thought Arizona was the best place to live if you have allergies. In the springtime, all of the trees, there's, I forget the name. Was it the palmetto? There's a few trees out here that have a lot of pollen in them. And not only that, but then the winds pick up in the springtime and, everything's blooming. I know that's mostly brown out here, but there are plants that bloom and have pollen, and the wind kicks up everything. And my son gets them really super bad. But this year, I usually don't have, issues with allergies. But this year, they hit me pretty hard. Last couple days have been rough. But I think I'm on the downside, thank God. Kimberly Bryant says, for a beginner, how frequent should I edit? Right after I make a mistake or every 1 or 2 chapters? There's 2 schools of thought on recording and editing. There is the punch and roll method, which is where you record, and if you make a mistake, you stop the recording, go back to before you made the mistake, and then re-record it. So you kind of edit as you go. And then there's the other school of thought, which is just recording through, and as you make a mistake, you mark the mistake with, I use like a dog clicker because it creates a visual spike in the waveform where you can see where you made your mistake. There are some people that also just snap or cluck their tongue or clap. Or I even know somebody that uses a dog squeaky toy to make a visual representation of a mistake. And then you finish your recording that way, and then you go back through and remove all your mistakes and just kind of double check everything as you go to make sure there's, no errant noises in there that shouldn't be in there. So you could do it either way you want to do. Some people are much more comfortable doing the punch and roll method. Some people are just more comfortable just reading through it and marking the mistakes with a clicker. Neither way is wrong. Neither way is right. Whatever works for you is what you should do. Okay, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's see if we can get through our questions here. Robert Palmore says, Harbor Freight packing blankets aren't great, but they are cheap. Yes, moving blankets are really helpful for reducing reverb in your room. I am using moving blankets in here. I tried acoustic foam tiles, but I couldn't get the darn things to stick on the walls until I discovered spray adhesive and poster board, like that thick stock. Then you mount them to that, and then you can tack the poster board onto the walls. But it was much easier for me, and I got a much more uniform result to just drape moving blankets in here and tack them onto the walls. And if you can get them used, you definitely want to shake them out a few times, but make sure they're clean before you hang them up. But that is definitely a choice for reducing the reverb in your room quickly, is to hang moving blankets. Michael Verney says, I set up a profile on Upwork. Then a few days ago, I could no longer access it. I tried contacting them, but nothing but crickets. Any thoughts? I'm not sure. I think I recall someone else saying something similar a while back. I'm not sure what they actually did, but it could be something about your browser, or it could be something security-wise through Upwork themselves. They're a little bit tighter than most, I find, on security measures, meaning they want to verify your driver's license. They want to do a video verification where they see you and make sure that you are who you say you are on your ID, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just kind of adds to the tedium of setting up a profile. But it could be some sort of a security measure, I'm thinking, that is keeping you from being able to access your Upwork. What I would do is just Google the situation and see if there's any other Reddit threads, or, maybe you'll come upon the Upwork forum where people are discussing this very issue. There could be some solutions right there for you, but I've never experienced that, so I'm not exactly sure what it could be or how to resolve it. I apologize. Okay, let's see if we can get through our last questions here quickly. Daryl Hansen says, I have had a couple auditions, have heard nothing, which is okay. How do I know if it's me or the system that I'm using or inexperience? Is there a way to find out ever, or do I just keep trying? Just keep trying. Just keep trying, keep moving forward. Most cases, it's not you or your inexperience, or most of the time, you're just not the voice they were thinking of. Most of the time. But if you feel that it's something that you are uncomfortable doing because you feel that you are inexperienced, if you feel you need some more training, maybe you just need some feedback on your space or your delivery of a script, then join a Facebook group and upload your demo or your sample and get some constructive feedback from your peers in that group. That is the best thing that you could do. You know, it could be that maybe there's a little bit of reverb in your room. Maybe you could use a little bit more treatment in your space, and maybe that's what's holding you back. But most of the time, I find it's not necessarily you, but you just weren't the voice that the client was thinking of. And not everybody responds, which is kind of poopy, but that's the way that it goes. You just have to you have to have thick skin and just keep going forward. Just keep moving forward. Joy West says, hey, Angela, the old towels idea is great. Thanks. Where is the best to record samples, for example, ACX or backstage? Where is the best to record samples? I would record samples for everywhere. I would have, and you could refer to them as demos, just little compilations of different types of reads that you've done. I would have a demo for audiobooks. I would have a demo for medical narration. I would have a demo for IVR, telephony, phone trees, voice messages, any commercial work. I would have a demo for all the different types of voiceover. And I would also have them individual demos of individual types or tones of voiceover. Meaning you can have, for commercial work, you could have a demo that's a little bit more of an intimate style. You could have another demo that's a little bit more upbeat and salesy. Same thing with audiobooks. You could have a demo that's just romance, an audiobook demo that's just horror, another audiobook demo that's just self-help, another audiobook demo that's just children's books. You get the idea. And then also have a compilation demo that's got little slices of each type, and then have all of those handy for different situations. I found that approach works best for me because I'll have, for example, an author reach out to me and says, hey, I've got a children's book. Do you have any examples of children's books that you've already done? And then I send them my children's book demo, right? Or someone will ask for a demo of just, a publisher might even reach out, like an indie publisher, and say, hey, I've got a lot of different authors. Do you have a demo reel for audiobooks? And then I would send them the one that's got a little bit of everything on it. I hope that makes sense. But I would just make a demo for everything that you can think of and have it on hand, and then refresh them as you go along and you get more experienced and you feel more comfortable with your deliveries. Always refresh your demos. Definitely not a bad thing. Andy B says, what is the ideal uniform level for other things such as commercial work? Uniform level for other things such as commercial work. Uniform level. Are you talking about volume? Like your voiceover file volume? For me, my process for audiobooks is pretty similar to other voiceover work, meaning I record it, I edit it, I apply my rack, which has got some EQ, a little bit of noise reduction, and then I normalize it to -3 dB. It's pretty much the same process as for voiceover work, but your final volume for voiceover work usually wants to fall between -6 and -1 or -3. Usually where I am is usually about -6 to -3, I think. Maybe -1 being the absolute loudest. Somewhere around in there is typically where my other voiceover work falls volume-wise. I hope that's what you're asking. Melissa says, as always, thank you for your help. I hope you're feeling better soon. I'm also struck... And my cat's attacking pigeons through the window. We're trying to anyway. We're not getting further than the blinds. As always, thank you for your help. I hope you're feeling better soon. I'm also struggling with allergies right now, and I have a new audiobook to record. So, yeah, same girl. Robert Palmore says, I stapled my foam panels on the wall. Same for the packing blankets. You know, I don't think I tried staples, but I tried like thumbtacks and things like that, and none of that worked. I didn't want to like spray adhesive them directly to the wall. I wanted to be able to move them. I'm happy with the result, but staples would have been a good thing, I think. Just as easy to spackle over as anything else, I guess. Whatever works, right? It doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to sound good. Sean Lester 007 says, I found an old foam mattress topper at the yes, foam mattress toppers. You can also find, I actually have one in here. It's one of the things that I first used starting out. I got mine from Walmart, I think, for a couple of bucks. And it's not super big, but it does the job. And it's, covers the same amount of space as maybe a half a dozen to a dozen audio foam tiles. So it serves its purpose. Thank you for bringing that up. I totally forgot about that. Let's see. Hang on. John Popovich is here. Hello. Hi, Angela. I just recently set up my own studio at home and I'm ready to start in VO. Thank you for all your info. It has really helped me in starting my Fiverr account and VO business. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad, John. It's very validating for me to hear that. Me coming on here and blathering to you guys for an hour is helpful, so I appreciate that. And all the videos that I've made in hopes to just help somebody somewhere. I'm so glad that they've helped, guys. Thank you for that. Joey West says, way cool ideas, Angela. Thank you. You're welcome. Sean Lester 007 says, pushing or push pins work well on drywall. Yes, they do. However, you have to consider, if for anyone else listening out there, if you're trying to tack on things to your walls, push pins are great. But keep in mind, if what you're trying to tack on your wall is an inch or two thick, the push pins might not work. You might want to try a staple or some other method, because push pins aren't really long enough to go through 2 inches of foam and then stay in the wall. They usually get pushed right back out from experience. Daryl Hansen says, thank you, Angela, for the time, and it's very helpful yet somewhat frustrating because of terminology and lack of experience. We've all been there, Daryl. I completely 100% understand. When I first started out, I was watching lives like this on YouTube with people that I admired and followed, and Facebook groups, and everywhere that I was trying to soak up all this information. It was the same thing. I didn't understand any of the terminology. I didn't know what they were talking about half the time, but I stuck with it and applied what they were saying to what I was doing on my end. And then it all started to make sense. I started to learn the lingo and understand what these things actually did and how they benefited me and how things worked together, right, to benefit me and my business. So it will make sense over time. I promise you. We've all started in the same place, where everything is just a completely different foreign language and nothing makes sense. You will learn it over time. Just keep going, keep pushing, keep soaking everything up that you can, and it will make sense at some point. Truthfully. Daryl says, keep up the good work. It's much appreciated. Oh, thank you. Thank you for watching. Robert Palmore says T-pins are long enough, but a little hard to get into drywall, but will do 2-inch okay. Yeah, that is the other thing that I have in here. I have T-pins that are holding some things together and also onto the wall. Andy B says, thanks, appreciate all the help. You're welcome. Joy West says, try duct tape. Duct tape just fixes everything, doesn't it? No self-respecting studio owner would have a toolbox with no duct tape in it, right? You got to have duct tape to fix everything, because duct tape does. Although it's a little bit hard to remove. It leaves a little bit of the residue behind, but, that's where Goo Gone comes in, I suppose. But if it's your house and you don't care, you're just going to paint over it anyway, why not? All right, guys. Well, It's been a blast, and I look forward to seeing everybody here again next week on next Tuesday. Thank you again, everybody, for joining, and I look forward to seeing y'all next week. And I already said that, and allergy brain is what I'm blaming. So, bye.